Good evening, everybody. Happy
Hello.
Wednesday. Hello, 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 indeed. Happy Wednesday night. My phone reminds me it's showtime.
Showtime.
Ah, indeed. How is everybody doing? Dina, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, busy
Great.
week.
Yep. Always. Busy people get things done. I made myself busy.
Fair enough. There's a lot of planning going on, obviously. Not
There's
just for ourselves.
planning going on. There's artwork going on. There's trials to observe and report back as best as one can report back. It's
Observe
been
and
busy.
report.
Observing. What do you know about Christine Cameron? Remember that?
That's why I said it. Observe and report.
What do you know about Christine Cameron? Oh God.
No, she's a terrible fucking liar in disguise.
Not
Ah,
even in disguise.
not even. Well, welcome everybody.
She's a chihuahua in possum clothing. Angry possum.
It
Hello.
is. It is. Something else I wanted to bring up before we continue. Something else I want to sort of add. But oh yes,
What?
so one of the stories I didn't want to bother covering, but because we've mentioned and
Does
discussed
it
him
deserve a
previously.
mention?
It's more of it's more about elections that are supposed to be coming in the future, and you know what? We may track this one more as it's happening, but out in Edmonton,
Oh
there's a
dear.
certain person who's going to be running for mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's got a shot.
Nay. Oh, of course he
Apparently,
does.
he's been talking to folks.
The whole restaurant's gonna vote for him.
Yeah, he's been talking to folks. Apparently, the people there really think he's got what it takes to be the mayor of Edmonton. He's so he's. I don't know if he's going to actually
That sums
run
it
for
up.
mayor. Oh, I agree. Ziggy's got it right dead on there for sure. But so I'm gonna be curious to watch to see if it actually occurs. Because again, he has run in the past for other stuff. Um, what you might call it. I think he ran for MPP in the Sudbury area. So
PC or independent?
um,
Not PC. PPC or independent.
no. It wasn't PP. I think it was Ontario Party. If anybody knows, let us know in the comments as to who Jason LaFacci ran as, or which party he ran with when he ran as an MPP. He did run. He got, I think, like 300
Ontario
votes.
Party, says Lady Blue Noser.
Ontario Party was it could be Ontario Party. It's David Sloan's extremely right wing party, so that fit.
Superb. How many people voted for him?
About 300. He had a very small percentage.
300's a lot.
It's more than I expected.
It's almost a third of a school.
Yes, but I figured it'd be half of people like, yeah, this is really what we want, and the other half is like, it'll be funny to vote for him.
Yeah, maybe.
It's one of those two. So 300 is a lot for Sudbury. That's true. So I mean, I had to have to go check it up. I think it was 300. I could be wrong again. Anybody wants to correct me, by all means. But as we continue, we are going to go to one of the first stories here, which happens to be about a Natasha Calvinho, aka Pat King's lawyer. Oh, thank you for the like. So Natasha Calvinho, Pat King's lawyer, has been talking quite a bit since her client went back to prison, or sorry, not prison, but to jail.
Jail.
Yeah. After being breached, and then having to go through the entire bail review process, and then finally released with conditions.
With new
Conditions and stricter conditions. And I say those words exactly because these are her words. In fact, I'm going to let her explain those words. And helping us out to explain this is friend of the show, Polychuck.
So tonight at a fundraiser, that seemed like it was for Tamara Lich and not really for Pat King, his lawyer got up and spoke, and she really just dropped a bombshell about how she let Pat King down. Like, she threw him under the bus. She caused him to have more restrictions. Watch this.
Pat had the extra hiccup. You know, the day after we finished our closing arguments, there was information received that he was breaching. I had an allegation of breach. I'd actually received some information before that, but couldn't communicate that to him because I was, busy closing.
She had the information before that, but could not disclose it to him. So before it became a problem, she had the information, but could not disclose it because she was busy writing her closing arguments. This is why he really went to jail. His lawyer dropped the ball. It had nothing to do with Christy and her mother. This next one, I'll let it speak for itself because I'm not even sure she's allowed to say this. I don't know.
I want it impressed upon the situation that we're in. He's, do we color outside of the lines? Do we push boundaries? We all do it in one way or another. But it was a matter of him getting out, and we had to agree to more restrictive conditions. So he's out. Melissa's absolutely right. Unfortunately, because of a certain article, I think, from a certain CBC reporter, Pat lost his job when he went home.
Oh, no.
So he's struggling.
Now, let's be clear. If Pat King was fired, he was fired because he was claiming that a concert that was a fundraiser for him, when in fact it was not. The CBC reporter just cleared everything up because he was advertising it on his Facebook as if it was his own fundraiser. Also, this confirms everything that Christy and her mom were saying about Pat King's lawyer being unresponsive when she told him in February that she no longer wanted to be the surety. It confirms that this lawyer didn't do what they were supposed to do. And it got Pat in hot water. It really did.
It's what was being said the whole time. Actually, I said it directly to her in the courthouse, too. Before she opened her mouth about this. Joe was there for that. But
I was.
She was celebrating, guys, after we came back and they had the defense, whatever her name is, Natasha and Kamerji or whatever his name is there, Karimji, yeah. Negotiated the new terms, the stricter terms, and then we all came back to the agreement. The judge was very happy that they could come up with an agreement. And after it was done, we're in the second row. She comes up to the first row where Sophie and all these other people were. And she's like, you see, she says to Sophie, you see, it's almost like I told you he'd get out and he'd just have like stricter conditions. It's like I know what I'm talking about. And so I just said to her, if you knew what you were talking about, he wouldn't be here in the first place. If you knew what you were doing, he wouldn't be here in the first place. Anyway, she's the reason, and he's the reason that he was there.
Yeah.
Like, he's too dumb, and she's supposed to keep him in check. Or his sureties are, which is why they might be forfeiting that $25,000.
That's true. So, as Deana was saying that in the courtroom, I'm like, oh, God, we're going to get kicked out. Here we go.
No.
We didn't. I know.
I don't do things to get us kicked out of court.
Yeah, I know, but I'm the more concerned and paranoid one than between the two of us. Which is not difficult to be more paranoid than you.
Yeah.
Because, no fear. The only thing I'd challenge Belichick on is I don't believe the job he was fired from had anything to do with the concert. Because his involvement with the concert was a volunteer position, not paid. I think he was in a paying job that was separate from that, And I think that's a job he lost. And I think it might be related to the fact that he was gone for a week. Like he was
Maybe.
arrested. Yeah. It
It
might
could
be just that
also
simple.
it
He
could
was just-
also very much be that his boss saw what he did to two innocent women online and basically had his followers attack these people who didn't do anything wrong, aside from the fact that they're chuds, but they all like each other for that. But they did nothing wrong. And yet Pat laid it on thick that it was their fault that he was going back to jail. So he lied and hurt people at the same time. So if I was a boss and I saw that happening, no, I don't know. I don't think you'd be working for me. We're talking about Natasha Calvinho and Pat King. And
So, not that it's not that I think it's possible, but I'm a big subscriber of Occam's Razor, and it's the simplest explanation is the one, which is he was gone for a week. He probably told them that he's gonna be back on Monday. Didn't tell them that when he took his trip. Didn't tell them that there's a
maybe.
risk of not coming back.
True.
And then
Because
he
he
was gone for
actually
a
thought
week.
he was coming out.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
surprised when he didn't.
And Natasha, again, didn't even inform him, and she knew. Like, she was supposed to see him that Thursday, apparently. I didn't go to court on there was a day that I didn't go, and he was Amanda Purdy, Legally Purdy, posted about it. She was supposed to meet with her client the next day, and then the following day, the judge is like, "You're going to need to talk to your client," because he had no idea he wasn't going to be coming out. He totally thought, yeah, he's going to be out for his birthday.
Yeah. So, again, there was definitely some surprises that I think were done. And you know what? She was my lawyer. I'd probably have conversations as to why was I blindsided. Yeah, as Ziggy said, he was blindsided, and yeah, he should have been prepared, as that was going to be a definite possibility with stuff that they were already made aware of between the change in the CERTI and the new charges that came in from breach, that this could cause a bit of a delay.
I've always had lawyers. I've had different lawyers for different reasons. I've had lawyers for insurance. I've had lawyers for corporate. I've had lawyers for personal, and I've had lawyers for criminal. I have lawyer for criminal. Not one of these lawyers ever set a high expectation for the outcome. And there's a reason why lawyers do that. So the fact that he thought he was going to get out tells me that she didn't prepare him for worst case scenario.
Yep.
Because he was so confident he was going to be getting out. So that's not a sign of a good lawyer, in my mind, anyways.
No, I know one good criminal lawyer that we both know, who is very good at preparing for the worst possible outcome to a I'd say a flaw, and also does not give you any indication of anything else. And I will never play poker with her, ever.
No.
She will clean me out. I'm sure of it.
She'll tell you after what she thought was probably going to happen.
Yes.
And she's happy, that whatever.
Oh, she'll show your hand after when she's collecting your money, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, collecting your money. She's low.
Not in that case. I'm talking about.
I know what you mean. Yeah. The accreditation, you mean, or whatever. It's not even accreditation, but yeah.
It's just
no,
she's pot.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's it's very important to prepare your client as to how things can go. And speaking of clients and courts and lawyers, Barber and Lich at the Freedom Convoy. So this past weekish, I'd say weekish because it started last week. It's going into this week. It's finishing off on Friday, if I remember correctly.
No, it's not actually. The judge was smart. Before we get into this, the judge said to everybody at the end, I know you guys told me that I could cancel the September dates, but I did not. So it's probably going to go into September because there's no way defense is going to finish on Friday. And Friday was what everybody assumed was going to be the last day. Granger still has some speaking on the Carter to do, I believe, but Greenspawn still has to defend Leach, and Greenspawn still has to speak to some case laws that I think he actually was the lawyer for in these specific one. I can't remember what it is. And then the Crown still has an opportunity to rebut that. That's not all happening on Friday. Impossible.
That's fair. Because again, I haven't been tracking it that closely here, except for what I got here. So we will go quickly through David Fraser's article here in regards to what occurred there for the points. And again, we're going to get some more information because our Deana was there.
Yes.
So starting off with, there's a trial. So again, these are closing arguments, and I'm still going to state this. Like, oh my God, the closing arguments are long because it's been over a week now. So the trial for two central figures in the Freedom Convoy will continue Tuesday, with defense lawyers challenging the prosecution's portrayal of the 3-week Ottawa protest as a single event under the sole direction of Tamara Lich and Chris Barber. The two have pleaded not guilty on charges of mischief, intimidation, obstruction, and other offenses related to the February 2022 protests against COVID-19 mandates that saw trucks block downtown streets in Ottawa's core. At issue is whether Barber and Lich crossed the line into committing crimes and encouraged others to come to the city. Prosecutors are attempting to link Lich and Barber as co-conspirators who worked together to finance, fuel, promote, and organize the Freedom Convoy, asserting evidence against one should apply to the other. So this is why they're being tried together, because evidence for one should be evidence for both. The defense contends that the defense contends the co-defendants should not be seen as leaders of a unified protest because the events in Ottawa were not part of a single orchestrated demonstration, but involved many players not working as a coherent whole. It's a whole. Oh no, we're just all independent. Prosecutors have highlighted social media references to Lich as the great leader of the truckers movement and the spark that lit the fire. They argue the megaphone Lich and Barber wielded was crucial, pointing to videos showing people's enthusiasm in meeting them as leaders. The defense has argued that while Lich and Barber shared the goal of persuading the federal government to lift pandemic mandates, they did not conspire to commit illegal acts and promoted peace throughout the protests. So Barber's got one additional charge that's separate from Tamara, and that is Barber faces an additional charge of counseling others to disobey a court order by encouraging protesters to honk their horns. He's accused of doing this after a court had granted an injunction preventing that specific action. 2 days after the Ontario Supreme Court granted the injunction against honking, Barber posted a video on TikTok warning supporters that there were rumors police action could be coming within days. Let that horn go. Don't let it go. And when you see that mass force of police heading toward you, Barber said in the video played throughout trial and again during closing arguments on Monday. So, Magus argued Barber was trying to explain an exception that allowed for honking in emergency situations, but was doing so in his own words. Justice Heather Perkins McVeigh didn't accept Barber asking protesters to warn police as they qualified it as an emergency. That's a stretch, she told the court.
Yes, she did.
In her own words, that's a stretch.
So specifically, it was him. Like, there's a little bit of words missing out of what David Fraser put in. There is a video, and Barber, like that's the gist of it. But basically, Barber was saying like, The police are on the move, and exactly what David wrote. If you see them coming, then like, go on the horn, don't let it go. And so the defense was trying to say like this was to be a warning to others, and this is what was going on in his mens rea or whatever, that his state of mind was of like urgency and panic. And so the judge was like, well, that's not what an emergency is. There's a difference between somebody having a heart attack and needing an emergency versus you see police lawfully coming to you to remove you from somewhere.
Medical emergency is an emergency.
It's like the defense was, arguing the stupidity clause, like that her client is too stupid to know what an emergency is. It's funny because a few of us were giggling at that. And it happened. What's that?
Continue.
No, it's just, basically the judge was like, I don't think so.
It's a stretch.
It is. But do I think they're going to be found guilty?
Hang on. There's one last thing before we get to that. Earlier in her closing submissions, Magus argued Barber was morally innocent and he had done everything possible during the protest to work with authorities.
That's important.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's important. Go ahead.
Yeah. Prosecutors will have the opportunity to reply likely on Friday when the trial is expected to end.
The reason why
as you said, is not true because it looks like they're going to be extending the time.
Yeah, they're going to go into September. The reason why what goes on in his head, I think that's part of the law of how you find someone guilty of mischief. And I put it in I definitely wrote it down because I explained, I think, but I know that the reason why they focused heavily on the mens rea and actus rea is because those are requirements for the judge to be able to find them guilty of certain charges, because they have to have the intent to want to do something unlawful. But they're trying to paint a picture that, he had a team of lawyers with him to make sure that he was doing the right thing, that they had, these things organized. The other thing with the different groups, the evidence that they're showing, like, okay, clearly there were different groups that showed up in groups. That's what happens. We know this. But to try to, so here's where they're doing a good job with this argument. Okay. They are doing a good job with this argument. However, the judge really wants to take, because they both of the sides agree that they have to take everything. The judge has to take everything into context. But you can have a workforce that has different groups in the workforce, but ultimately the leaders are responsible for the outcome or the output. Even if it's not work, we'll use any other analogy. You are going to have different factions within any group, even a government. You will have the Liberal Party, let's say. You're going to have different factions. Look at the Fab Four, or whatever you want to call them. What are they called? The four, AOC and Tlaib and whatever. Like, within the Democratic Party, there are factions. But ultimately, the leader of the Democratic Party is going to be held accountable for the party. And so for me, it doesn't matter that, like, there were all these different groups and some people were doing certain things. And it doesn't matter that you're unhappy with the people who are subordinate, quote unquote, to you within that movement. If they go rogue, they're still your responsibility. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to say that, oh, well, Tamara had issues with people. Well, we all have issues with people all the time. Even as an employer, I will have issues with my employees. It doesn't mean that I take less responsibility for whatever happens, right? Like, so that, I mean, they are doing a good job with that argument, but I don't know that the... I
don't know if it's going to hold.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That judge is smart.
Good.
Things don't get by. Barber didn't testify. which is also, a challenge because he's not required to testify. We know that he's not required to testify, but the judge said a couple times when the defense was trying to speak to what was going on in his mind, she's like, well, I don't know about that. Like, I didn't hear that from him. He hasn't told me this, like whatever. And that's kind of a stretch or whatever, like in different instances. So,
I mean, it might be for him not to testify is probably a good thing, because if he goes and testifies, anything he says or whatnot, more importantly, it's if he goes on the stand to testify, it's a chance for the Crown to go in there and question him on pretty much anything.
yeah,
Like
that's exactly. And that's,
yeah, there's no question anything else.
the Crown's going to have a harder time, or is already, I feel like. It just seems like with the judge's reaction when the defense is speaking to Leach's defense on these charges, it just seems like the judge, kind of agrees. She's going to look at the whole context, and she wants to, and she says, like, I need all of the text messages, not just, bits and pieces that each side is trying to pull out to prove the other. She's like, I need the whole conversation, whatever I can, whatever get. Anyway, some of the stupid stuff. The police downloaded some TikToks.
Yep.
But didn't include the date of the TikTok. So when you download a TikTok,
why wouldn't you do that?
I don't know, because she wasn't asked to. That's the answer that they were given. And why didn't she download all of them so that, you could see the full message? Because apparently Barber was making several statements within a day, and the defense is trying to say, well, this TikTok is only part of a statement, and case law already shows that you can't take a tweet at face value because, it's not, it's, whatever it was. I don't know. They just said a bunch of shit like that. Anyway, so they're trying to say, well, this is an incomplete statement. And they're like, we don't even know what day this is. So, you're not going to be able to tell what was in his mens rea at the time, because it depends on what was happening. And hold the line can mean very different things at very different times. When you say hold the line, it could mean stick to your convictions. And in some cases, it does sound like that's what it is. And then sometimes hold the line means stand your ground and don't move, and that could be illegal and whatever. And how many times did Tamara say this and blah, 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 blah. But if you're going to, I just turned to, I don't even know who I was talking to. Was it Tom? Maybe I was with somebody, and I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, even when we download, TikToks or videos, we are marking the dates. And who are we? We're like nobodies. You know what I mean? Yep. How does the police not know to timestamp shit?
Yep.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, there's two particular things that I've been told to try to grab when grabbing videos, if it's ever for legal reasons, which is one, sort of the date it's posted.
Yeah,
it's an important one. The second one is the date when it's captured.
Yes.
So if I
didn't do either, and that's what the defense was saying, is that we don't even know when these things were captured, if they were even captured on the same day that they were posted.
Yeah. So this is kind of the weird thing, because again, there's nothing wrong with most of these platforms capturing something that's on a different day than when it's posted. And something like TikTok, you can't edit the videos in regards to changing the video content. In YouTube, you can. So it is very important in that particular context. As compared to
edit?
Sorry?
What do you mean you can't edit on TikTok? Yes, you can.
You can change the video of a post? I don't think you can.
What do you mean you can change the video of a post? I don't know what that
I don't
means.
believe you can edit to change the video of a post after you posted it on TikTok.
Oh, yes. Okay, you're right. I see what you mean. Once it's posted, it's posted. I understand. Okay.
On YouTube, you can.
Okay.
So that's kind of an important thing. And this is where it's very important to not only just get the post date, but also get the date when you captured it, because that could be important to the whole story. Like, well, this is when we captured. This is what the message was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, metadata is very important. I'm very surprised that for for police enforcement. And I'm just surprised that in this, even in 2022, like, how are you not aware of the internet at that point?
This is her answer, apparently, according to the defense speaking to her testimony. The inspector just told me to download these, so I downloaded them. This is what happens when police only have to go to school for policing and not for law, and understand how evidence, like, how do you not have to take a course on evidence and, proper
I would say
whatever.
also social media evidence gathering is a common thing now. Yes,
Super common. We've been doing this. I've been on Facebook since 2007. That was my first social media place. Sure.
Mhm.
And 2007, I was late in the game even.
Yeah.
That's
But it's not just that. It's police in a lot of cases, and I'm sure if we talk to a lot of people who are just far more into the legal than we are, like, for example, like, court cats or Matt Purdy, who's been following a lot of the cases beforehand in other cases, or any other people who do any illegal following. Like, social media is pretty common now in the law, and for the police services, regardless of the province, to not be up to snuff in regards to having at least standard policies amongst them on how to gather that evidence that's common now. Like, whether it be something like for the convoy, or something for harassment, or something for anything else, you're going to get social media as a good chance that's going to be important evidence there. How do you not have that information?
I don't know. I just remember being part of a committee in 2018 to learn about the new police service rollout. I was part of that police committee. I was volunteered by Councillor Deans, who was the president of the police board at the time, and chair of the police board at the time. So she asked me to represent the community in which I was working in a housing co-op, because I had done so much, not just like within the community, right?
Mhm.
So I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So go to this thing once a week. And they fed us pizza and cookies. And
So they bribed you.
I still have the binder. Like, I still know. And they were talking about all this state of the art
Because you're going to
stuff
see you
that
still
they
have the
had.
pizza and cookies.
No. All the state of the art, like, computer. Guess what, guys? Definitely bought from Israel. Okay, definitely an Israeli security company. Now that I know. But anyways, OPSEC, I believe, is what they called that room. TVs, big screen TVs all across the wall. Different police officers stationed with like 4 or 5 monitors in front of them. And in real time, they were going to be able to track like terrorism or, issues that were going on in the city in real time and communicate with each other. That was like, then we have the convoy. And so I'm like, what happened to everything you guys said you were going to have? This was all after G20 too, right? They were rolling it out very much like Calgary. I think it was Calgary that rolled it out first. So they were mirroring what Calgary was doing, if I remember correctly, for all the way back from 2018. Anywho, now they don't even know how to download a video and fucking
just
save it
to
date
the
and
thumb drive,
time.
right? Date and time for just
Super.
when you downloaded it and when it was posted. Not that hard to do.
No. But if you hire a bunch of yes sirs and you don't give them full direction, they're not going to know what to do.
It's true. So, one last thing when it comes to the convoy before we move off to the next stuff. There's one other person who has, I think it's kind of related in regards to the convoy. He's got some opinions about sound. Ron, tell us what you think about sound.
Oh, Ron. Is it like the purple lights?
Oh, this is even better.
So they got these driveless taxi cars running around the parking lot with the horns going and lights flashing. Can you imagine? That would drive you bonkers. That would absolutely drive you. I'm after a couple of days, I would go and dismantle the car
Would you
if I
now?
lived close to it.
Yeah.
Like,
This is crazy.
it's kinda
This is
funny. It's not at my door, but
this a fucking parody?
technology. All the technology. When a bug happens, things happen. But let's keep moving forward and forward with more technology.
He sounds like old man yelling at the crowd clouds.
Well, he is.
Technology. Technology.
Yeah. He is
Let's just keep
definitely.
going with technology.
He is definitely old man yelling at the clouds. As to the origin of the story, I didn't get a chance to actually look it up to find out where he's getting this story from. Mostly because a combination of two things. I mean, one, it really doesn't matter. I mean, let's be honest
It's
here. The
just-
point of this story is just like, can you believe having to listen to horns for like
After
like
2 days, I
hours?
dismantle it. After 2 days.
After 2 days, I
Really?
mean, I couldn't handle that. I'd be like, could you imagine that? Could you imagine that, Ottawa? Could you imagine hearing horns for more than 2 days?
And it's all
Drive
because
you
of
nuts.
technology. Fucking technology. Technology.
Oh my god!
No, horns are only annoying when technology does it, not when the fucking idiot behind the wheel is doing it.
I even hear comments from Magic Ann on that one. She's like, oh, like, would it be okay to hear the horns if there was like an F Trudeau flag on it? Would that help dampen
Yeah.
the effects of that? Is that what's needed? Like,
Canada flag, upside down Canada flags.
couple of
Oh my
upside down Canada
God,
flags,
this
F
is-
Trudeau's, like.
How is that not our funny at the end? Why wasn't that
Oh.
the funny at the end?
To be honest, that was on the table. That was actually on the table.
Seriously, like, oh my god, that's a parody. He's they're all so stupid. They're all so stupid.
It's after seeing that one, I'm now, and I kind of wish we could do this in this particular setup, but we can't. But I'm always tempted to run a poll going, and just to have this video right beside Freedom George's video of the kids of like
We just
don't save
leave
the
them
kids,
alone. Yeah, if we don't,
they're just gonna grow up. Like
they're just gonna grow up.
Who's got some of the most daft? Who's the daftest of the two? Like who's got the most daft statement between the two? Because oh my god, I can't.
These were the leaders. Wrote
Leader.
that.
Well, no, these ones.
Leader.
No, I think I feel
I'm
that
the
when it
leader.
comes to Ron and to Freedom George, OPS probably went to them. Where here we're finding leaders. There's Barber, there's Lich, and there's this, and then they saw those two, and they're like, no,
These are the Trailer Park Boys.
these two didn't lead shit. No, they're not them. Then we saw the STC convoy, and the rest of us went, no, they didn't.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
They're gonna
So-
save the children. I'm gonna repost that one. That one was a good one.
It was absolutely. I'm trying to see if my soundboard had the cheering children on there, but it did not, unfortunately.
Okay.
But
I made a TikTok about it. I'll repost it.
yeah,
Deserves
I still
a
need
repost.
I still need to get a clip from Rebel News to add to the soundboard of you.
The most sane. He's the most
Most
sane in
sane.
Ottawa.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting to
Then he
feel
called
like,
me mental. Then he told me I had a mental illness.
Yeah. He's not very consistent in his
Just
messaging.
so you guys know, Ezra was back yesterday in court. And so he sat in the front, and I sat where I usually sit in the second row behind the reporters, maybe sometimes mingling with the reporters, because if there's lots, there hasn't been lots lately. But he came back, so I was sitting exactly where I usually sit. So he's like right here in front of me. And I sang him my song again. We were waiting for a while for the judge. We were delayed, so I sang. I was quieter, but he heard. This is your genocide. You're not even trying to hide. That's how I was doing it. And then the lady that was sitting at the end, She said, "That's a lovely song." I said, "You like it? I wrote it." She goes, "Yes, I like it. Is that about the," and I said, "the genocide?" She goes, "Yeah, in Israel." I said, "Yes." In Palestine, sorry, she said. And I said, "Yes."
Did
She
you
liked
send her
it.
to? Did you send her to the information on how to
Told
get
her
the
it's on
song?
I told her it's on every streaming site.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go listen to people.
Like a lullaby, exactly. Like a lullaby, vaccines, baby.
There we go. Speaking of which, that brings us over to next story, which is the main one for the evening.
Maine. Uh-oh.
Capitol Pride statement of solidarity with Palestine.
Yes. Amazing.
So this is fantastic. It's before we get to amazing. We're going to be honest, and there's going to be
Oh, yeah.
some.
It's
We're going to go
not
through a lot.
like the best they can do, and yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's wait till we talk about it, because again, we talked about this before, and I feel we want to do this again, but with everybody here. So let me start off with the overall, and there's a fair amount of slides for me to go through in regards to the message from Capitol Pride, and I want to go through the message of Capitol Pride because this is the most important part, because everything that's occurred has to do with this message. And I want you guys to understand, and for those who've heard read the message, fantastic. For the rest of you, we're gonna get through this together because it's not really much, but it still had such an effect.
Yeah. It's not much. It really isn't much. It's bare minimum. But let's go.
So, all right. So from Capitol Pride, as we head into our local Pride season in August, we wish to reaffirm our commitment to solidarity as the core principle guiding our work. While our mandate is focused on queer and trans communities in the region, the violence and instability we are witnessing around the globe have had far-reaching impacts on many members of our local communities. These issues demand our collective attention. Over the past year, we have been witness to escalating levels of violence in Israel and Palestine. We are aware of how polarizing this conflict has been and how painful it is for our members of our local communities to witness the ongoing death and devastation inflicted on innocent civilians. In this moment, two LGBTQIA plus organizations across the country and around the world have been called upon to take action. We are committed to creating spaces where all queer and trans people feel safe to celebrate Pride together. To that end, we are deeply concerned by the rising tide of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia we are witnessing here in Canada. As a community facing rising levels of hate-motivated crimes, we know all too well how hate erodes our security. In this climate, we reaffirm that intolerance has no place in our events. Following Hamas attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, the world watched in horror as the full extent of the atrocities committed against civilians were uncovered. We condemn in the strongest possible term the acts of terrorism committed that day. By the same token, we cannot stay silent in the face of Israel's endless and brutal campaign in Gaza, mounting violence in West Bank, where innocent Palestinians, many of whom have friends, families, and loved ones in our communities, are being slaughtered, dehumanized, and dispossessed of their land, in flagrant violation of international law. The situation is so dire that the International Court of Justice expressed grave concerns with the state of the war in Gaza, stating that there is a plausible risk of genocide. Part of the growing Islamophobic sentiment we are witnessing is fueled by the pinkwashing of the war in Gaza and racist notions that all Palestinians are homophobic and transphobic. By portraying itself as a protector of the rights of queer and trans people in the Middle East, Israel seeks to draw attention away from its abhorrent human rights abuses against Palestinians. We refuse to be complicit in this violence. Indeed, to withhold our solidarity from Palestinians in the name of upholding to us LGBTQ rights betrays the promise of liberation that guides our work. We join our voice to the calls for greater protection of civilians and reject any attempts to use devastating conflict as a pretext to advance hate. To breathe life to breathe life into our sincere hope for an end to this war and justice for all its victims, we commit to the following actions. Integrating resources such as the Palestine BDS National Committee's boycott list in our existing review process of current and future sponsorship agreements. Hosting Zafa, a queer Arab showcase, its signature event as part of the 2024 Capital Pride Festival that features discussing about ongoing issues facing Jewish LGBTQIA+ Arabs locally and abroad. Recognizing the ongoing genocide against Palestinians is opening remarks at 2024 Capital Pride Festival signature events, and working with all our partners, both sorry about that. As I was saying, I think, Deana's having a couple of technical issues, as you can tell. And we'll continue here. So, number 4, working with all our partners, both public and private, to push for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, the immediate release of all hostages, increased access to humanitarian aid, and more accessible pathways for refugees. These commitments serve only as a starting point for our work that will continue past this month. Our mission is to organize the Capital Pride Festival remains to celebrate, advocate, educate, and connect respectfully the full diversity of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. Sorry, 2S LGBTQ+ community. I think that could be implied. That's not who I'm looking for. Remember that, Deana's. Hopefully Deana's now capable. She will continue to try to reattempt. Till then, I will speak. There she is. So, I don't know if you got the entire statement I was reading out there, Deana. When we have technical difficulties, it kind of interferes with my ability to have a drink. Hopefully it clears up in a minute here. So this is the statement that was brought up to the public as regards to their solidarity to the community. She's disconnected. She'll be back soon. Now I'll comment in saying, could there have been more aggressive language and more messaging? I think so. Although I do accept and agree that it does hit a lot of the important minimums, which was accepting and acknowledging both, the atrocities of terrorism. I'm not against that, but as well as the ongoing atrocities being experienced by civilians. And they took the stance very well in regards to, we do not tolerate harm towards civilians. There we go.
Sorry.
Are we good now?
I don't know. Now. My internet's crappy.
It's crappy again. Give her a minute.
Day today.
There we go. I think I may want to stop the video or a standing video. We may have to have you on audio only. Let's see. So, it's the Joe Show. So, I'm going to agree with Ziggy here in saying that it is a relatively neutral statement. It's not attacking anybody else except saying that there is evidence that Israel is. Okay. Oh, I got kicked out of the screen. That's not cool. Here we go. Can we hear you now, Deana? Oh, all right, Ziggy. He's gonna blame it. He's gonna try to say it's all his doing for some reason. All right, so back to this. While we wait for Deana to correct here. Um,
Hmm.
how are we? Do you still have your cell phone with you, Deana? If you can hear me, try connecting with your cell phone. I think she's going to try that now. So, I'm also doing that. So, yeah, as Ziggy and others were saying, it is a pretty neutral statement. They're not saying anything other than just, I think that like the main message they're just saying like, we're trying to be business neutral, the whole thing. We want an end of civilian loss of life. Nothing wrong with that. It's a pretty safe message. But this statement caused so much pushback. A massive amount of pushback. It's and this is where it gets absolutely astounding. So we're gonna go through a bit of that. I was hoping to get Gina to have a bit of commentary on there. But before we get to it, but again, as we're continuing on, OCDSB trustee wants a school board. Yeah, so as we're getting some pushback, there's a lot of, and we're going to get to the organizations when there, but I mean, the first one that came out was Dr. Neely Mirth, who came out and said that, because of this statement, we need to pull the OCDSB out. And her wording was, again, as you guys read the message, Ottawa Carleton District School Board trustee is asking for Eastern Ontario's largest school board to join a number of organizations and the city's mayor to withdraw from their participation from this week's National Capital Pride Festival over pro-Palestinian comments made by its organizers. OCSB trustee Dr. Neely Kaplan-Mirth said she will not be participating in Capital Pride events after the organization released a statement expressing their solidarity with Palestinians and criticized the actions of the Israeli government amid the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. For the whole Jewish community, it's made it unsafe. That is very sad, said Kaplan-Mirth. So,
What do I look like here? Where am I? Where is it? Where's my stupid camera? Do. Oh my lord.
There we go.
Yo!
Would it be better if I did this?
I don't know. Whatever.
Please put us on the fixed position. That might help us too.
Sorry, my internet sucks today.
Well, it seems to be better now.
Yeah, well, because I'm on the phone. I want to see the chat. There you are. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all set.
All right. Cool. Just see if you can get your phone stable because it can get people nauseous. So first, wow. These are the working conditions I work with. Can you believe that? It's a rough working condition. Anyways, first part of the story. What do you have to say about Pride's statement?
Well, the statement was very neutral, like Ziggy said.
Mhm.
It's for me, it doesn't go far enough because there's a genocide, and so like all the images, like everything, all the statements, everything. However, it's a step in the right direction because something has to be done, and I think it answered a lot of the calls because there were a lot of people within the Pride community, different organizations and different groups who were calling on Pride to make a statement and to make sure that everybody was included in and that Pride is a protest, and that they don't rely on corporations to make it what it is, because it is a protest.
Yep.
You and I had a conversation about it, and yeah, you think that was the best.
I didn't think it's the best.
Not
So
I
yeah.
no, yeah. You explain it, because you explained it better when we were talking.
I
And we
did.
were
I
having a
explained
little bit
everything
of a
great.
debate.
We
Yeah.
were. So it's. I don't disagree with you at all in regards to the messaging so what I remember now, as we were kind of conversing about it, was it the strongest message you can do? Hell no.
No.
But it was very tame, very neutral, as Ziggy was also mentioning. But I thought was very, very interesting. And I thought, in hindsight, as we're seeing what's going on evolve, it's a perfect message. And the reason why is because it's very mild, it's very mundane, it's very straightforward. It's you read the message, and all it's saying is like, we just want peace. We just want shots to
Yeah.
stop being fired. We want to stop people dying. We want the hostage release.
And we want people to
Every-
stop funding this
yeah,
war, or whatever the words that they use. This genocide is the
they
proper
did. They
term.
did.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
they
used
did.
war. They don't want to fund it anymore. They don't want to be part of it anymore. We don't want our money
Yeah.
to go to that.
So they're not advocating for anybody to suffer or anybody else. They're quite the opposite. They want it all to stop and everybody to be safe.
Yeah.
And again, it's as we were saying, it's not enough of a message, but that message, which is not enough that we found too neutral, was enough to make all these other groups just spin a narrative and a story and
Out of
back
control.
out of control. They went out of control with the lightest of the stories. And I thought this was fascinating, because then you can turn around to say, this is what happens when you don't really say much, which means, yeah, you can increase your message whatever you want. These the guys are going to lose their shit regardless.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. You be as polite as possible. They're still going to freak out because you dare to criticize what is occurring, and even asking for for right for people to live. No, that's offensive to them. Asking for the right for people to live.
The most offense, and that's why I said, so they might as well have gone all out and said something, because there's no way to keep Zionists happy. They want full control over everything. They want full control over the narrative, and they want full control of the mere fact that they can, the people who are going out, like the Ottawa Hospital, and thanks to Alex Munter, a Zionist, OCDSB, thanks to Pino Buffone, because he's a coward, to Nili Kaplan-Mirth. But these are both, Alex Munter and Nili are both in the medical field. And how dare they, on so many fronts, side with genocide? How dare they be okay with the fact, and I put this in a post already, but I forgot to mention the fact that healthcare workers are targeted. Healthcare workers are being targeted. Their colleagues are being targeted to be killed. A new mother who was a doctor who spoke to the fact that she saw children getting shot in the head. They targeted her specific apartment and killed her 2 newborn babies, 2 days old. The father was out getting birth certificates for them. They were literally on this planet for 2 days, little twins. And they targeted her kids, and her mother, and made sure that he was gone. Because apparently there's a really good TikToker who knows a lot about the military. She's fantastic. I wish I could remember her name, but she spoke to the fact that they have certain in infrared. They can see who's in the apartment. They know what people are in the apartment. Anyways, that's a tangent. But the fact that Nili and Alex Munter are okay with the fact that children, this is Chio is pulling out as well, that children are being amputated on without anesthesia, that they are suffocating under rubble, that they are being targeted in the head and in the heart by snipers, children, that they are witnessing the most horrific scenes any human being could ever process. Imagine a child doing that. That children have to have their names written on their limbs so that they can be collected and know what body parts belong to them. These are all atrocities in that any healthcare provider can automatically understand, because they studied this and they worked with patients in these environments, and they are okay with it. They need to leave. The best case scenario was for them to fucking walk away.
Yep.
They can be all public as they want to be. They need to fucking walk away. I just posted a video of a child without, like, his head was blown off. His head was blown off. Somebody presumably shot him in the head and blew off his head.
It's that or a bomb.
What's that?
One of the two. It's that or a bomb.
Right, but the whole body was fine. The face was fine. It's the back of the head. The back of the head was open, empty and open. Like, this is absolute insanity that there are people who are saying that asking for that to not happen anymore is anti-Semitic. Give me a fucking break.
Yep. Agreed. So let's take a look at these wonderful organizations that's decided to not be to walk away from Pride. So I got the listing here, and the listing is quite extensive, and there's points and whatnot I want to go through. But I'm going to be going fast through a lot of them because I'm up to...
Disclaimer, though. Disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
These organizations that are being pulled out are not the same as the people who work in these organizations. Let's be clear that it's the leadership.
Yep.
The people who are making these decisions are the leadership of these places. Again, we circle back to, Leach and Barber, where your people might not agree with what you are doing, or how to go about it, but they're still the leadership.
So let's take a look about, there's about 20 organizations, less than 20 organizations and individuals here. So
out of how many?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't checked the original listing.
I know there was 188 registered in Montreal. How many
organizations? I do not know. I don't have that number. I didn't check it up. Yeah. We can go check that after. So going through right now. So first one is not a big surprise. Jewish Federation of Ottawa, who is associated with CJA. So that's not a big surprise.
Good. I'm so glad CJA's not going. CJA shouldn't have been going.
So Ottawa's version of CJA, they're not going to be there. Shame.
CJA. Actually, if you make the J into an H, as if it was Mexican, it'd be CJA. So
it's true.
CJA.
So the next two is Liberal Party of Canada, as well as the Ontario Liberals, both for the same reasons. Pretty much, I think some people would say that this is Housefather's work. Anthony Housefather.
He's a piece of shit, that guy. Ugh. He's gross.
Absolutely is.
He's disgusting. He's vile.
Yeah. Moving on to now, City of Ottawa has also mentioned the same message, and this was recent. Following the August 6th statement issued by Capital Pride Board, which took a position on the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Some city staff and members of the community have expressed that they now feel excluded, unwelcome, or unsafe to participate in this year's parade.
They feel unsafe, do they? Why? How is that making them unsafe? By not wanting murder and genocide? I don't understand. Make that make sense to me.
Yeah, make it make sense why you need other people to be able to murder people without any challenge to make you feel safe. As well as we all know, as a recent one, OCDSB has also mentioned that pull out. I have made a post in regards to this one of a form that's been brought up by CSO, as well as been pushed by Horizon Ottawa and many others, to try to send a message to the trustees to try to get this reversed. They have a fair amount of trustees already on board to try to reverse this, but they need a few more to be able to push this over the line. They need to get over 50%. As well as there's one person that's also in that form letter, but don't bother sending to them, and that's Alicia Aziz, who resigned officially as of Monday and is no longer a trustee. Then we get into the hospitals like Chio, and that's Alex Munter, as many of you guys know. As well as Chio is also the Ottawa Hospital itself.
Do we know why she resigned? Sorry, going back to
For Alicia Aziz, no. The only thing that's been officially marked, and she from her posting, was for personal reasons.
okay.
Nothing else. Anything else is speculation, and I haven't heard what that speculation is yet.
Okay.
So aside from those two, also Mulford, and I checked to see if that Mulford was related to it, but it is again the same statement. Hospital, we have a duty to take care, to be of a care environment and an employer
and
where
you have a
everyone
duty
feels
to your
safe and welcome.
colleagues who are
Yeah.
being fucking targeted.
Yeah.
Pat. So gross.
Exactly. It's like no. We need to appease this one loud group. And then the Royal
A
Ottawa
loud
Mental Health
minority
Center.
who are pro-genocide. Okay, sorry, keep going.
While deeply rooted in activism, Pride has always embodied a spirit of inclusion and embraced people from all cultures, bodies, and entities. Capital Pride has now taken a deliberate political stance on a very complex and divisive international conflict. As a result, the tone and tenor of this year's event has changed dramatically, and many members of our community feel excluded or unsafe attending the parade. I'm starting to get a
Wait.
repetition.
Yeah, but listen. If Pride took a stand on Ukraine, would Russians feel excluded? Like, give me a break. They
Yeah.
took a stand on Black Lives Matter. They
Yeah.
took a stand on Indigenous matters. They take stands on intersectionality and actual genocides. Pride is being consistent, if you ask me.
Hang on a second. The Royal. So here we go. The Royal condemns all forms of violence and is. Thank you, Mary. All forms of violence and is profoundly committed to inclusivity and diversity. We are deeply concerned about Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and all other forms of hate. Kind of the same thing as what there was mentioned in the actual statement by Capital Pride,
Right.
including the ongoing discrimination faced by our 2S LGBTQIA+ community. We take care of our people from every race, religion, and national origin. It is essential that everyone who needs our help feels comfortable, welcome, and safe. Upholding this inclusivity in our actions is not just our duty, but our ethical obligation as we serve. Okay, so that's exactly what Capital Pride is saying,
And
and
you pick the other side.
you pick the other side, which means
Yeah.
your two statements are contradictory. They're
100.
conflicting, and this is the same thing with all these guys. They're conflicting their message.
Because they're liars and they're
Yeah.
Zionists.
CCE is French Catholic school. Same thing. A few days ago, Capital Pride organization released a statement. I'm kind of surprised that the Catholic school was actually going, but still. Released a statement stating their position in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. This position, despite the initially inclusive event, sends a message of exclusion.
No, it
Which
doesn't.
does not correspond to the deep value.
How?
Not a
How?
single one of these
Can somebody
messages.
tell me how?
Yeah.
Who are
As
they
we're getting wrong.
excluding? Genociders? Like, who are they excluding? Even the genociders were still able to come.
Yeah. Every
Like,
single one of these messages, they're saying, "Oh, well, it's making it exclusive."
Well, how?
That's an incredible, important point. What is the exclusion? Who are they excluding? What's the message of exclusion? How is that message of exclusion being done? Ottawa tourism. We're not marching in 2024. These guys were really smart. They just kept their message as quick, as small, as simple as possible. We're
That's
just not going
not
to
smart.
go because if we say something, it's going to make us sound bad.
Well, yeah, because it is bad.
Loblaws backed out.
Of course, Loblaws is backing out. Loblaws is capitalist Zionist galore. Like, who
Given
is
the recent tension around Ottawa Pride Parade, yeah, they're just worried about losing customers. They're already been losing customers as it is in regards to some of the boycotts they were already experiencing. Given the recent tension around the Ottawa Pride Parade, for the safety of our colleagues, we decided not to participate in the event. That said, we remain strong supporters of 2S LGBTQIA plus community in Ottawa and across the country, and we will continue to demonstrate our commitment by raising the prices of your bread.
Do you know what I think would be awesome at Pride Parade this year? What I think would be awesome is that all of the spectators who are watching all of the people go by, and at the end, instead of them walking away, They should join the parade. They should be in the back. And every single person that came to Pride should be marching. And right until the end. That's what I think. I think it starts with the people at the back because they're the first ones to see the back
Yeah.
of the parade, and they just start marching. Everybody gets in there and starts marching because Pride is a protest. And in fact, I'm going to encourage it. Sorry, Pride, I'm making a corporate decision here, but I'm going to be at the back and I'm going to be like, hey, let's go, everybody. This is a protest. Get in here. Do it.
The University of Ottawa said in a statement that it is committed to fostering a space of respect and inclusion. In light of recent statements by Capital Pride, the university has made a difficult decision to withdraw from 2024 Capital Pride Parade. Statements do not align with the university's broader mission of values. Oh yeah? Again, what about the statement does not align?
Except they're wrong, because that is the whole reason why Pride did that, is because so many people and organizations approach Pride saying, these are your values and you're not upholding them by not taking a stand against the genocide happening to Palestinians.
Again,
so
University of Ottawa, same thing. They're not saying why they're not joining, but they're
Right.
not joining. Big shock, U.S. Embassy is not joining.
yeah, who cares? Good.
Bank of Canada said demonstration and counter protests at Pride events in other cities have
Oh,
led
no.
to safety concerns for our
Not a
employees.
bank not showing up. A bank's not going to show up.
Yeah.
The,
Well,
like,
it's a Bank of Canada, so it's a little bit different. But still, it's like, well, it's so dangerous in the other cities. I'm like, listen, I was in Montreal. There was no danger
none.
except for what, and
The
haven't
police.
seen what Montreal police were doing.
Yes.
It
that
wasn't
was
the
the-
protesters. The
That's right.
protesters were quite peaceful. They were calling on to people to join them, and quite a few instances they were joining in. But yeah, it was not. And if you're using Montreal as a measure for how peaceful a protest is, you're not really watching who's bringing the violence.
That's right.
Public
Same
Service
as in
Pride
Toronto.
Network. Sorry?
Same as in Toronto. The protests are peaceful.
Yep.
The only time they become not peaceful is when the police start being assholes, because we've seen that, and assholes to the point where they allow people to come in and try to, start shit with the protesters and stuff. And the police do nothing about it because they want that conflict so that they can have a reason to arrest Palestinians. That's what I'm seeing. It's exactly what I'm seeing, or Palestinian activists. So it's a whole load of bullshit. The police are there to protect the fucking Zionists and whatever. That's what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing it in Ottawa too, by the way.
Yeah, well, we definitely see it in Ottawa. Public Service Pride Network. This one is a disappointment I heard by many people in the Pride community, and they're very upset about this one. Public Service Pride Network, PSPN, represents 2 LGBTQIA plus employees in the federal public service. The organization said in an email to employees that it will not be participating in the Pride Parade and will be celebrating with events organized by PSPN. Having heard a lot of thoughts and concerns about this year's Capital Pride, the Public Service Pride Network wants to focus on inclusive, safe, people-centered events and celebrate our pride in our 2 LGBTQ plus communities. That's going to bite you hard in the ass.
All of these organizations, how do I have to say this every fucking week?
Pretty much.
Genocides do not end with the people creating the genocide winning. They never have. The truth always comes out. The world always moves past it, and they remember who the players were that allowed it to happen for so long. This is what we learned in school, and our children and our grandchildren are going to be learning about these people who have allowed this genocide to go as long as it has.
I think so. What they are also not registering and realizing, because again, these are probably a lot of old white guys running this.
Yeah. White
this
first.
Genocide is being documented by the minute electronically, shared on social media, and will be lasting for centuries.
The internet is forever.
Crystal clear video.
As a Zionist tried to tell me, the internet is forever. Actually, it was a Nazi. Sorry, it was a Nazi that told me the internet is forever. I said, well, that I'm banking on that, asshole. Like,
Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm like, that's just not going to work for you. So as well as Giant Tiger is also pulling out, same reasons, and yeah, we always stood for inclusivity, diversity, and equality. Again, we believe communities brought together. Again, big, open, empty message.
guys, all these places are places we start boycotting now. Okay, bye, Giant Tiger. See ya. I won't shop at Giant Tiger anymore. No problem. I won't. I don't need to shop at Loblaws. No problem. I have a pharmacy, an independent pharmacy around here. I don't need to go to Shoppers Drug Mart. No problem.
Yeah.
Or I'll go to Rexall unless Rexall is pulling out. Is Rexall pulling out?
Rexall is not has not said anything about pulling out.
Okay, well, Rexall it is.
We start making the Ottawa BDS.
That's right.
And here's your list.
Absolutely.
Might be a little tricky for the hospital stuff.
Well, the hospital stuff, I guarantee you there's going to be healthcare staff that are still going to be marching in the Pride Parade. Oh, yeah. I guarantee. Oh, yeah. The majority of
I already know a lot of healthcare staff are going in
right.
in disagreeing with it.
Because healthcare staff are mortified at the fact that their colleagues are being targeted and the fact that these children are being targeted and newborn or new mothers and pregnant women and people are being raped and all of these things. I guarantee you, Alex Munter does not speak for the hospital staff, and we will see them in full force. Also, I want to put out a message to everybody else. If you weren't planning on going to the Pride Parade, this is every reason why you need to get off your ass and go to the Pride Parade. We need everybody to come out and support the Capitol Pride for finally taking a position on genocide. Including and especially the Palestinian community, the Jewish community. They should be marching together. The Palestinians, I believe, are marching with the Indigenous Marshal and the Indigenous group that is leading the Pride Parade this year. I think Independent Jewish Voices or other Jewish organizations that are against this genocide should be right behind them or right standing with them together. I don't care, but they should all be together. And I'll be at the back because I can't be at the front. And then I'll start bringing out all the participants to start joining that march. Excellent. For Pride. Because you cannot be a fair weather fucking, whatever, ally. Yeah.
So the last one on our list here is, as many people know, Ottawa Mayor Sutcliffe.
Fuck him. He's such... Somebody said this so perfectly. I want to remember who it is. Mm-hmm. Somebody said that the mayor has done absolutely nothing other than performative photo ops to advance anything with respect to the 2S LGBTQIA plus community, that like his statement means nothing. It's good.
Oh, fuck. I called him out on his so he's said no to Pride. He's said he's out, he's not doing this. And then the very next fucking day, he sends out a message with a photo of a rainbow sidewalk and saying like "Happy Pride." I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like
that's what the person said. Just these stupid photos. Like that's all he does. Performative bullshit. He does nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure many of you guys already read this message. I don't feel like going through it too much. But it's the exact same thing. It's like, oh, they're making this thing divisive. They're excluding people. Again, he's not saying who they're excluding. He's just saying that people are being excluded.
So he decides to exclude himself. Nobody's being excluded. All these people are excluding themselves.
So I would also call additional bullshit. Aside from pressure from Zionists saying, oh my God, this thing is the most offensive thing in the world. You need to go there because it's excluding people like me. Which it's not. He, I believe, was more than willing to do this because, as somebody posted here, somebody by the name of Cornchip, apropos all the manufactured outrage towards Capitol Pride, a reminder that no serious person believes Jews would be unsafe at Capitol Pride. We
That's right.
saw all these things. Not a single one told us all these excuses. All of them said that it's going to be unsafe for some groups. Not a single one said what groups are going to be unsafe, how they're unsafe, or pointing to even anywhere in the goddamn statement by Capitol Pride saying anything about any threats towards anybody. It's bullshit.
It is total bullshit.
And number two, 16 years before being elected, Sutcliffe proposed defunding Capitol Pride and Tulip Festival, already slashed 50%.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. So, thank you, Magic. So here's Sutcliffe writing an article, I believe it's for the Ottawa Journal, which he had started, or Ottawa Business Journal, where he's there saying that, that and this is, I believe, in 2005, the festivals should be weaned from city funding. They're costing us too much. It's out of control. We need to slash this money. So, and
the truth comes out, Suddy.
And even about 2 years ago, a letter was written from Capitol Pride in regards to that particular article from somebody that you and I both know, Toby Whitfield, when he was still executive director. And this week, an article was published reporting that you advocated defunding the Capitol Pride Festival, Festival Franco-Italien, the Tulip Festival, and many other festivals and events in a 2006 column in the Ottawa Citizen. At the time, you likened city funding to a parent handing out more and more cash to a teenager who never learns how to look after himself.
Oh my God.
Ottawa is well known for our festivals and events. Many of the largest festivals in the city are run by nonprofit organizations, and they work every day to bring communities together. They contribute to a vibrant city, generate significant economic activity, raise funds for local charities, and create meaningful opportunities for local artists. Consider that, according to the Ottawa Festivals Network, festivals, special events, and fairs generate over $222 million for the local economy, generate tourism spending totaling $122 million, and support 68,000 jobs. Hang on, last. Go ahead.
This is Toby who wrote this, yeah?
Absolutely.
And this is cut and dry business case for why spending a little money makes you a lot of money. And it's a little bit funny and ironic that the article that is going to create the complete opposite of this working business plan is out of a business journal or whatever by Mark Sutcliffe. Yep. Why is it that conservatives are the worst business people ever? Explain that to me. They cannot see the big picture. They don't understand that, like I said, spending a little bit of money either saves you a lot of money or earns you a lot of money or both.
They are for immediate gratification and immediate gratification only. They're only looking for the small, simple things. They will go for the nickel while missing out on the dollar.
That's right. And this is not only an investment in your city in terms of business. So he just outlined how much money, but he also spoke about how it brings community together. This is an investment in your people, in your city. And it creates jobs, it creates volunteer opportunities, it creates a sense of community. Fuck Sutcliffe.
There is, absolutely, fuck Sutcliffe. I mean, there's a whole, he's willing to abandon the entire thing, in regards to there's no value in these festivals. Let's get rid of them and just build houses. That's it. Build houses, build roads. That's it. And I'm sorry, if you're, especially for the city of Ottawa, if you're not going to do the festivals, you're going to be killing a significant amount of work.
Businesses.
Yeah, work.
It's the small businesses that get the most out of these festivals.
Yeah.
Or
I got to put another way for you, Sutcliffe. Your voters.
Right.
If you want to be a one-term mayor, keep going.
He is going to be a one-term mayor. I guarantee you.
I'm going to
Everybody,
work on making sure he's a
Vaccines
one-term
Baby
mayor.
said it. We could have had a good mayor, but we blew it. 100% we blew it.
Yep, totally
We
do.
could have had a great mayor.
And I hope they run again.
Yeah, me too.
Cattle
Me too.
Pride is proud of our work in championing equity inclusion in the city. Our annual festivals welcomes over 100,000 people. We create opportunities for the 2S LGBTQ plus community to celebrate, organize, for people to be themselves and see they are welcome and included in our cities. Serving the city for local artists and performers to develop their art, connect with new audiences, and for more than 400 volunteers to gain skills and develop new
There
friendships.
it is. Yeah, I didn't even read that letter, and yeah, Toby nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Oh yeah, absolutely did, and it's again. So this is why I'm like, Sutcliffe. I feel this was just a fucking excuse to back up because you would like
100.
to see.
100. Like, this is all performative bullshit. Nobody gives a shit. I'm glad Sutcliffe isn't going to be there. I hope the police don't show up. I hope the military doesn't show up. Like,
I if anybody is that conditional onto it that doesn't want to show up, I hope they don't.
bye.
And it's mostly, especially for the corporate prides, don't show up. Don't show up. I'm assuming the embassy of Israel is not going to show up.
That would be fantastic. I think the embassy of Israel should be shut down and we expel the ambassador. So why should they be at Pride Parade? They can go fuck themselves. That's simple.
Absolutely true.
And guess what, everybody? I'm going to make a prediction right here, right now. There are going to be Israelis, Zionists, who are going to fly their Israeli flags in the middle of the protest, and nothing is going to happen to them. And they are going to prove to us, they're going to prove to all of us that everybody going there was safe to go there. That is my prediction. There were Israelis who marched in the Montreal Pride Parade. They were fine. Nothing happened to them. Not a damn thing. Because it's not unsafe for them to be at the Pride Parade. You watch. There will be
the Israelis were fine, the Palestinians were not.
Yep, exactly. You will see on Sunday, there will be at least 5 flags. That is my prediction.
And if you have any doubts about that, take a look at my last Sunday when I did the photos in regards to Montreal Pride. Was it last Sunday?
No, it was a couple of Sundays ago.
Sorry, maybe the Sunday before. Where I did the documentation, and you'll see where I photographed the people with the Israeli flags, and they proudly walked through the crowd. Police were not removing them. They kind of dealt with the people complaining about them. While they had entire lineups of police to harass the Palestinian attendees that were part of that the Pride Parade too.
They were part of the parade.
Shove them
they
around.
were marching. They started in the front, didn't they? With the indigenous, with the indigenous group of Montreal Pride. That's right. So, anyway, yep.
So, yeah, it's a lie. Don't believe it. So there's one other person that I want to bring up, which is Councillor Ariel Troster. Also sent out a message. They sent out a message, and I wanted to read it out. Because of all the councillors, I thought theirs would be the most impressive. They both identify in the community, and they're also Jewish. Statement on... Sorry?
Is Ariel the one that our friend was helping campaign?
I believe so. I believe them. But yes, I believe so.
Helping.
Ariel Troster also took over Catherine McKinney's old area, Somerset Ward.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. Okay. Yes, thank you.
So, their statement is, I am deeply sad to hear that the Jewish Federation of Ottawa has chosen to pull out of Pride. As a queer Jew...
I'm not.
Yeah, I know how important it is for queer and trans people to feel affirmed both by their faith cultural communities and by the 2S LGBTQ plus community. Having to choose between where you came from and who you are is extremely painful. I also want to reiterate that Pride is and always has been political. I was not surprised to see Capital Pride release a statement in support of Palestinian people who have been enduring a brutal war and the deaths of more than 40,000 civilians. Many of my Jewish loved ones are on the front lines of the movement supporting a ceasefire, seeking peace and justice for both Israelis and Palestinians. Oops. Criticizing the actions of the Israeli government is not anti-Semitic, and I was not personally offended by Capital Pride's statement. Many Jewish people I know felt erased by the way it was written and were left wondering if they would be welcome or safe at Pride. I would encourage Capital Pride to affirm vocally and unequivocally that Jews are welcome to march in Pride, and that anti-Semitism will not be tolerated. Both
And
my Jewish and queer values, are based on critical engagement and unconditional love. We can disagree vigorously, but we are still family. Pride is for everyone who is a member of or an ally to the 2S LGBTQ plus community. I will still be marching in the Pride Parade and attending other related events over the next 2 weeks. It is a political movement. Queer, trans youth need to see our vocal support more than ever. I hope you will join me. Sincerely, Ariel Troster. Trotter. Troster, sorry. Now, there is a follow-up messaging from the Pride. I believe it might have been in reference to this message where they are affirming that, yes, they are standing up both, because it still was
they're
mentioned in both.
reiterating.
They are reiterating.
They had already made it clear, this is what I wanted to say, in their statement, that they are troubled by the rise in anti-Semitism and they are troubled by the rise in Islamophobia, and that they will not tolerate an environment that is not inclusive. They already made that statement. Ariel asked for it to be reiterated, I guess, and great, Pride reiterated.
Yeah, they absolutely did. They did a great job at that. Let me see if I can bring up their reiteration here. This might be, here it is. I may have to low tech this a little bit for you guys here. So directly from their page, as we launch it. Oh no, this is their reiteration here. As we launch into 2024, we reiterate that Capital Pride is and always will be committed to combating all forms of hate, discrimination, and intolerance, including anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. As a community facing rising levels of hate-motivated crimes, we know all too well how hate erodes our cohesion and security. We strongly reaffirm that all the 2S LGBTQ people, plus people deserve to feel welcome and valued in Pride. Queer and trans people, all religions, including Jewish and Muslim folks, are an integral part of our local community. We reject any attempts to marginalize religious and cultural minority groups from the broader Pride movement.
Yep.
As an organization, we remain committed to fostering dialogue on difficult but important issues that impact queer and trans people in the region. All measures are being taken to ensure a safe Pride for all participants. We hope that you will join us as we begin our celebrations, and we look forward to welcoming you to this year's festival.
Yay.
So again, they are not, they're not trying to go after, they're not trying to exclude anybody, and they're trying to be very inclusive in the messaging.
Yep. Anybody who excludes themselves are doing it on their own, and they are showing us exactly who they are, and they are making it easy for us to know who to either, either boycott or to work tirelessly to ensure that these people are no longer elected to these positions of power, or that these organizations do a better job at hiring whoever their decision makers are. That's all. We know where to focus our energy. They've outed themselves, and we can. Nilly Kaplan Mirth. I know she worked and she has this title of doctor, but for me, I don't even want to give her that anymore. And I'm one to not be that way, but I'm going to be that way with her because she totally disregards all of the carnage that I spoke to earlier. And that is unbecoming of a doctor, if that's a word or whatever. But I voted for that stupid bitch. I voted for her. She's in my riding. And I even...
We're in the same riding.
Yeah. She's the one I voted for.
I feel somebody else is on our riding. All right.
There were about 7 different trustees you could vote from for our riding. I read all of their bios and then I cast my vote. And hers seemed to me to be the, she was pro to SLGBTQIA. I remember her bio a little bit. She was a doctor, a family doctor. I was like, okay, this person's got to be, educated. She this was during the pandemic. Okay, so that she was concerned about the COVID and the disinformation that was going around. So I voted for her, and I also defended her when she was making claims that she was getting anti-Semitic hate mail, and the fact that she should know what it is to be attacked. And let's be clear, it's not the Palestinians who were attacking her. Okay. We know these were white supremacists if there were in fact, and it's funny because the right kept saying that she's emailing herself. That's what they were claiming, that she was making it up herself.
So we've both gotten DMs from some of these guys. Like, no, it was you guys.
Yeah, right. And exactly. But now that she's shown herself to me, not only am I not going to vote for her as trustee, but I am actively going to find out who is running for trustee ahead of time. I will pick the candidate that I will vote for, and I will actively support that candidate and actively inform as much of the riding as I possibly can who Nilly Kaplan Mirth is, to ensure that she does not get elected again. If I'm lucky, because then it'll save me a lot of work and effort, she will not run again. I hope she does not run again. She has no hope in hell. I guarantee you, not in this riding. She has no hope in hell. And I'm going to make sure that they don't put another Zionist in her place, because that's what they do.
Fair enough.
They have people. I have people. I have people who can tell me.
You are people.
Well,
you're a lot of people.
We have people who can tell us who these people are.
That's true. So.
She's disgusting.
She is. But now we need to move on to the next story.
Yeah, because we're late.
We are late. It's your fault. So, last story of the evening has to do with journalists. I want to say the name correctly. Bisan Owada?
Bisan, yeah.
Bisan Owada?
Auda.
Bisan Auda? Like Chowda. Okay.
Like Chowda.
There we go.
Auda. Yeah.
Bisan Auda, nominated for 2024 Emmy Award. Now, for those who are not familiar with who Bisan is.
You'll recognize her. Do you have a photo of her? Do you have an image of her?
There
she is.
Yeah. So, she's been doing a lot of, if you're on TikTok, you'll have seen her videos and footage.
I don't think she started out as press, did she?
I believe she was press before.
Okay.
And she's just been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a horrific thing to say. She's one of the few ones still alive.
Yeah.
Especially, because again, so many have been murdered. She's been able to go in there. Now, she's been nominated for an award for her short that was on AJ Plus. I'm assuming that's Al Jazeera Plus.
Yeah, it is.
Called My Name Is... I want to get the name right of it because I want people...
It's just
No. The name of the special. It's Bisan from Gaza. I'm still alive. And there she documents and has a whole series in regards to documentation of what's going on in Gaza and everything that goes through. And I haven't had a chance to see the short document, the documentary yet, but apparently it's fantastic, and it's won already a Peabody for the work that's in there, and so now this is up for an Emmy for its news.
Sweet.
Which, yeah, and let's be honest here, covering this important event that's going on, and at the risk of your own life, literally.
Well, living it. I mean.
Oh, literally living it. Yeah, you're living it, and you're documenting. And I've seen some of her videos. They're fantastic, powerful, and she's right in there because she has no choice. So how is the world treating this? Well, sorry. Before we get to that, she has continued to do so in spite of the war on Gaza being recognized by the UN as early as February as being the deadliest, most dangerous conflict for journalists in recent history. At that point, over 122 Gaza's media workers have been killed after just 4 months of Israel's assault, and the Committee to Protect Journalists has accused Israel of deliberately targeting media workers. We are honored to highlight the accomplishments and the hard work of these exceptional journalists and documentarians. NADA's president and CEO Adam Sharp said in a statement regarding the nominations. Auda's series has been aired in collaboration with AJ Plus and has garnered more than 40 million views across various social media platforms. It is being nominated under the category of Outstanding Hard News Feature Story Short Form. Totally agree. I feel bad I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's probably going to be on my list of things to watch soon.
Yeah.
So, how is that nomination being accepted by the community at large? Jewish nonprofit calls on Emmys to rescind Palestinian journalists' inexcusable nom.
Inexcusable! How dare you? How dare you platform someone who has been bringing the people the truth about us?
Citing ties to PFLP exclusive.
PFLP.
Sorry, ties to PFLP.
What's PFLP?
So, PFLP stands for Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine.
Oh, terrible. How could you? How dare you do that?
It's a U.S. designated terrorist organization, because they all are.
Yeah, anybody who defends themselves are going to automatically be terrorists. Yeah. I see.
Creative Community for Peace, a Jewish entertainment nonprofit, is calling on the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences to rescind an Emmy nomination for Bisan Atef Oda, a Palestinian journalist who the organization says is a member of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, a U.S. designated terrorist organization. Going through the article, I didn't want to put more into it because the article just talks about their accusations, but nothing of any proof. They've got absolutely no proof.
That she's part of this organization?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, going on.
She's part of Hamas. They're all Hamas.
So, 150 plus entertainment industry leaders call on the Emmys to rescind. So, the particular group community has now went even further about 2 days ago and had a letter signed by about 150 plus entertainment industry leaders calling to rescind the nomination. This is a girl who was documenting a story. She's done nothing more than document a story, and she is the most offensive person to these people.
Yep.
People who include Haim Saban, so some CEOs, Selma Blair, Deborah Messing, Rebecca De Mornay, and many other CEOs and other people in positions. Manuel Shikri, who just denounced this entire story because, again, they claim that she's part of PLFP. And again, no evidence to it whatsoever. Natas did respond to this finally. And the response was they're not revoking it at all. And the reasoning behind it?
Go to hell.
News and Documentary Awards will not void Palestinian journalist Bisan Atef Auda's nomination made amongst the outcry over their alleged involvement in the Popular Front of Liberation of Palestine, used as a terrorist organization. In a Tuesday letter addressed to Creative Community for Peace, Executive Director Ari Engel, Adam Sharp, President and CEO of National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, the organizing body behind the News and Documentary Awards, said that Natas has been unable to corroborate these reports of Auda's involvement in PFLP, nor has it been able to date to surface any evidence of more contemporary or active involvement by Auda and the PFLP organization. Most critically, Sharp added in the letter obtained by the RAP, the content submitted for award consideration was consistent with the competition rules and NATA's policies. According to NATA's, has found no grounds to date upon which to overturn the editorial judgment of the independent journalists who reviewed the material. Your thoughts?
Whatever. I mean, they're a big bunch of fucking whiny babies who try to cancel people who are, sharing truth. There's, I think the Emmys are right in, holding firm. I think they knew that this was coming anyways. And any organization that will make a statement against the genocide is prepared for the whiny backlash that's going to come from a small group of people who are in charge of bigger groups, but not necessarily the voice of these bigger groups. So, I mean, whatever. Look how many people are with Bisan, and look how many people are against the genocide. This is a revolution, people. Like, there's no moving it backwards. It's not happening. It's not a thing. I don't know why it's so hard for these people to, man, like they're clutching. That's all.
Well, some of these guys, I'm thinking like, do they have property in Israel?
Yeah, they do. 100% they do.
Is that why they're being very defensive of it?
It's a good point. And I bet you it's on occupied territory. And I bet you some of them are new landowners from the Keller Williams little tour that went around. And you know what I love about that? I love that they spent their money on these places that they're just going to have to relinquish, because they're not keeping that land. It will not stay theirs. It just won't. So, yeah.
It wasn't for them to buy to begin with.
It wasn't for them to buy, but they did. And they're planning on, building beaches and pools and like whatever, all this shit, replanting trees that aren't even native to that place and fucking up their environment and their flora and fauna and trying to make it Europe in the Middle East. It's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to make Europe and plant it in the center of the Middle East. Oh, God. We were talking about the greater Israel thing. Oh, man. Like, I don't know.
Let's keep Greater Israel. Yeah, let's keep Greater Israel for as another discussion for next Friday.
Well, we already talked about it last Friday. I really need to hurry up and finish my shit so I can work on my videos. You're
not going to have time this week.
Yeah, I will not have time this week. I've got so much this week, so it'll have to wait.
We have we have a lot this week that's coming up.
We should talk about it because we're ending the show now. Yeah. Or well, you haven't given your thoughts yet.
I'm so it's the only thing I was kind of disagreeing with you on there is you're like whatever. I don't quite have that reaction of whatever. Is more of I'm glad. Like my first reaction was just I'm glad she didn't lose it. That was my first immediate reaction because
yes, of course,
and yeah, and that was my biggest sort of focus on there is because again, I haven't had a chance to see all her stuff, but I've seen a fair
Okay.
amount to say she has done a fantastic job. And I'm not saying she deserves to win, but she definitely deserves the honor of having been given the honor to be nominated. I think she deserves a chance to get into it. Obviously, this is going to be a challenge for her because she's going to have 150 people that we know are going to be voting against her. Hopefully, there's a lot more votes than just those 150, and hopefully, there's some good, strong votes to give her a good chance.
Really quickly, I
Mhm.
pulled her up from the Wikipedia page. I know Wikipedia is
Mhm.
not always fulsome, but I just
Mhm.
wanted to see if there's any reference to her being part of the PFLP. And she grew up in Beit Hanoun, and she has worked with several organizations on various issues. As a member of the UN Women's Youth Gender Innovation Agora Forum, she has worked on gender equality. She has worked with the European Union on climate change and is an EU Goodwill Ambassador. Auda also worked for the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA. Auda produces a show, Hakawatya. Okay, I don't know what that is. They're trying to spell it in English, which is about Palestinian history and culture and is aired by Roya TV. She also presented educational Palestinian Arabic videos for the YouTube channel Easy Languages. During May 2021, escalations in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, Auda shared videos on Instagram with the goal of drawing international attention to the conditions of Gaza, and then that moves on to what she's doing now, and we all know what she's doing now. So there's no mention of her being part of the PFLP, whatever that is. And I don't even give a flying fuck if she is. So yeah, don't care. At the end of the day, she is being recognized for her work, and she is doing great work. So fuck off.
Yeah. No, it's again, they just want to blame something, and again, you can make any
They want to
accusations you
muzzle.
want. They do.
They want to muzzle the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it for us tonight. Before we get into it, actually, yeah, we'll get into everything here.
Okay, Friday
This
is the
weekend,
Trans March.
Friday is the Trans March, so if you guys can show up, by all means. I'm a maybe. I'm still trying to figure out the details in regards to being able to attend there. I think Deana's definitely going to be there.
I will be there.
There you
Saturday
go.
is the so I think it starts around 5:30,
Mhm.
like it did last year. Saturday is the Dyke March, but there's
I will not be
also
able to attend that one.
the Palestinian Run, and
Mhm.
there's a barbecue at Vincent Massey Park from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. For raising money for Palestinian children. There's letter writing campaign. There's a whole bunch of stuff, lots of stuff for the kids. So I friggin' have a board meeting at 1:00. So I don't know if it interrupts the Dyke March. I don't remember what time it's at.
I'm be busy all day Saturday, and that's a surprise to everybody as to what it is.
So I'm going to go to my meeting. Then I'm going to try to make it to the Dyke March for as much as I can. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the Palestinian barbecue. That's what's happening for me on Saturday.
Yeah.
Then Sunday, we have the Pride March that I hope to see everybody there. Whoever is in Ottawa or in surrounding areas, please come to the Pride March.
If you're not in Ottawa, watch the streams. We may try to do
Yes.
a double stream.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're going to catch it from different perspectives. Joe is going to be somewhere other than I am. I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything. Don't
Okay,
worry.
okay.
Joe will be somewhere other than I am. And yeah, so it'd be good. You could watch both streams and see what's happening. We'll be like, too bad we couldn't merge them together like they do on like the news when they're showing the Santa Claus parade and you've got like two different whatever. But we're not going to worry.
There is ways of doing that, but we're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to prepare that between now
Don't
and
worry
then.
about it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's too bad we can't do that. But anyway, yeah, that's what's happening. And then, Friday, oh God, I forgot, is the Tamara and Leach still closing arguments. So I'll be at the courthouse doing the live tweeting and then, excuse me, the live tweeting, and then I'll be making it to the Trans March. So, and I'll do a Facebook quick synopsis maybe or whatever, how I feel about what happened that day. But it'll all be in the Twitter. That's what's happening this weekend. Busy.
It's going to be busy. And Monday, I'm going to be tired.
Yes, me too.
Lies. You can't get tired.
But I'm going to go to work on Monday. So
Me too.
yeah.
That's it for us. And before we get to that, don't forget, we still have fundraising for Deana. Please, by all means, if you can, please share. Please donate. Trying to get up to our 25 to 30,000 goal now. And also, if you can't donate, please share. And alternatively, if you also want to give, don't forget, Deana has her song out now on all platforms.
Play my song. Not only can you play my song, but you can put any video behind my song and I will be able to make money off of it. So if you go to Palestinian rallies or you just want to whatever, go on TikTok. There's a 1-minute clip. If you use that as your background, if you go to YouTube and you put a video behind my song, I will make money, and you put it back up on YouTube, I will make money off of that. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Deezer. I got the emails. I don't know what Deezer is, but I'm on it. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube.
Find your platform. Listen to the music.
Yeah.
Enjoy the song. It's catchy. It'll get in your head. Subscribe.
And send it to your friends, please. Play it outside of your car on full blast like Camilla and I do. We play my song on full blast. And we sing it. Both of us sing it.
It's true. If you need to, Camilla will give you, sorry, not Camilla, but Deana will give you a live acoustic version of it.
That's right.
Yeah. More than just Ezra. So that's it for us. Good night, everybody. And one last clip as soon as I figure out where my mouse is.
Where's your mouse?
Good night.
Good night.
About it.
I think just the judge and the prosecutor going back and forth. The judge was not taking anything from the prosecutor because they were reaching a lot of the time. There was a lot of mistakes in their work. They were missing details, getting information.
That was the wrong video.
It's okay. There was no sound to it either.
All right, hang on a second here. We're still on, I think.
Okay, well, go for it. Hi, everyone. We're back.
There we go. Hopefully this works this time.